Reawaken to your immortal identity and discover life between life's wisdom. Presented by the Michael Newton Institute.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our next episode of the Wisdom series from the Michael Newton Institute. We have had the good fortune of having different people from different walks of life joining us as our guest speaker. And this time, I have a very special person here with me, someone who I've had the honor and the blessing and good fortune of working together and exploring many aspects of human life, human behavior. Today's guest is Fatima Al Shirawi, the founder and proprietor of the Gracious F Color Consultancy. She is based in Dubai in United Arab Emirates, and her journey is really interesting. Here's this young girl who traveled all the way to the United States of America to do her undergrad in George Washington University. She studied marketing, and then she comes to Europe and she delves into studying fashion. And then she delves a little deeper into the world of colors. She trained to become a color psychologist. And she brings all these lessons and learnings into her life, into her organization, her company. Teaches. She's a part of many community development, self-development, and youth-centered initiatives. She travels in the region and abroad, taking her work with her, sharing her lessons. And as a regression therapist, when I had the good fortune of connecting with Fatima, I learned another nuance, or if I may say, another body of layers of the learnings in the world of colors, and how she's going to share with us how spirituality and colors, how journey in her own life and colors have meshed so beautifully. And there's this whole fascinating world that she opened up when I first got to hear what she does and experience what she does. So, friends, we have with us a very special guest in our episode today. It's Fatima Al Shirawi. Welcome, Fatima. So happy
Thank,
you're here with us.
thank you very much, and lovely to see you. And thank you very much for hosting me on your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Fatma, I want to know that in your journey as a woman entrepreneur and from this beautiful world that you belong to, you delved into something which has made you quite a bit of a trailblazer. You know, you started something so different. You uh, got into something which I think at the time when you began, people weren't even too sure what you were doing. Am I right?
Yes, very true.
Yeah.
And I have actually some people telling me we don't really know what you do exactly. But the world of color psychology is wonderful, and I have very much been sensitive towards color ever since I was a child. I used to find colors a way of expression. Painting was actually my escape. So whenever I wanted to sort of get away from my environment and go into another world, I would just take my paper, have my colors, and I would draw. And I would really go into another world. And as, of course, I grew up and became a teenager, I was very much into fashion. So my expression was all about the colors I wore. And I was happy to grow up in an era where there was a lot of colors that I could express myself. So when I went on to study in the US, it was a struggle because, as you can see, I'm always very much like thinking out of the box at every era. And I did come from a very conservative family who had either business from one end or medicine from the other end. So I was the only creative born. And I wanted something that challenged my creativity. Yet again, I was so interested in people. I was very much in tune in, I was an empath, but of course at that time we did not know what the definition of an empath was. So I was always very in tune with people's emotions, and I was very curious, like, why would certain things in their lives make them behave in a certain way, or certain environmental effects that it would have in the long run. So that curiosity took me to major in sociology and marketing together, which was very complementary because consumer behavior is a very big part of marketing. So that was, I would say, more on the human development side of my educational background that's contributed now to my company. But the world of color psychology came when I took my second degree, which was in London College of Fashion. But I did a summer in Florence, and this is honestly where, like, I feel I found my journey and my passion. And when I studied in LCF, one of our courses was color psychology, and the main reason for that is, of course, in fashion, you have to have your color theme, you understand your market, and so forth. So we go very deep into like color, personality, effects, the effects of color and culture that play a big role in your expression. So there were so many interesting aspects, but the key thing that was life changing for me was the color theory teaches you how to control your state of mind, your emotions, open communication with people, and all of this through color. It was all about how your unconscious mind is controlling your environment, and 80% of how we behave and how we react is unconsciously by color. So you can see how profound we're literally being controlled by color. So this is where like my journey went really deep into that, and I grew myself through this process. So
Wow. And this is bringing me to another understanding or another layer that when we think of colors, and color is all around us, from the world of the work that we do or we understand. I remember in a lot of LBL sessions or in sessions where clients are connecting with their higher self or to other beings or to angel beings, a lot of times there's a huge significance with color. When people have asked in sessions, what is my soul color, or what is the color of the light that's coming towards me when they're journeying into the afterlife, and they're probably meeting their soul family for the first time, or they're meeting their spirit guide for the first time. So a lot of times the form and shape aren't so clearly told to us. A lot of times clients tell us about colors, a certain color that they saw, or the color that they are connecting to. This takes me back in time when I did my first LBL, and we went to the space of origin, the origin source that one is coming from, and it showed me why I am so instinctively drawn to a couple of colors, because those were the two predominant colors I kept seeing throughout that session in that realm I was in. And this brings me then to my next question, Fatma, that in the world of colors, and I've heard you, use this term palette quite a few times when you've described what you do, or I've heard what you share. How do you profile a client? Because I know you work with students, you work with individuals, but you also work with clients as an organization, as a body. My question would be that what does the color have to say about a person, or how do you profile, or what? It's very fascinating. Can you kind of demystify it a bit, please, for us?
yes. First, there are 2 points actually we need to understand before we know the process of how do we analyze your color personality. So the main thing about a color is that all of us do react the same way to an individual color, because when we see color, of course, we need light, and then light exposes us to a certain color, and then our brain processes and tells us what emotions we feel towards it. Now here, when you're exposed to a particular color for a long period of time, that color starts taking a negative effect. So it could be like a beautiful color, which is, say, yellow, which is a very friendly color. It's creative. But if you exceed using yellow, it causes depression, low self-esteem. So it's all about balance. And in any of our holistic teaching, the main core of it is balance. So here's where we learn how to balance the color, how do we use it, and when do we use it. So the second part is the emotions associated with the color, which we've also seen that when we study about the colors of the chakra and the emotions associated with it. So a simple example, when we look at the blue throat, the color blue is for communication. So this is why it's rooted here. So it's very intertwined, the studies of science of healing and color. So here now we know these 2 points. Then our conditioning comes in, which is basically when color symbolism, what we have grown up to believe what this color means, but actually that's not the meaning, which is cultural or religion, or even sometimes personal experience that you have. Sometimes when you go through a trauma, there may be a dominant color while you went through the trauma that is a trigger to you. So you associate something negative with that. So this is the process of how we see it. Now, when we go to color personalities, what the theory has done, each color palette, as we said, or hue, has a certain vibration. So the lighter the color, the lower the vibration, the darker the color, the higher vibration. Now we have grouped the group of colors or the hues of colors into 4 different color groups. So everyone can wear all colors, but you have certain hue, sort of levels of hues that you can wear. So the darker colors would go with a very dominating personality because that person's energy is vibrating at a higher level. So it matches the high vibration of those dark colors. And as a high vibration personality, there's certain traits. So then this color group has an identity, has a way of thinking, a way of communicating, a way of how they are attracted to certain colors also, which dominate each color group. So you have the dominant personality, you will see very much always say, we like black, we like white, and they don't like a lot of prints. So here, this is a description. Of course, as a color psychologist, it's just a simple conversation I'm having with people. The answers they're giving me are basically just putting them in particular categories for me to narrow down which personality they are. So the process of how we analyze this is first we ask them general personality questions. So the answers that they give, put them in a certain category. The second level, we go with the colors. So when we put certain colors on them, we can then see the body language of how they're reacting to the vibration of that color, and also how that color reflects on them. So for example, if it's not their color group, you will see that your skin tone becomes uneven. You feel as a body, I see them literally tense up or feel very uncomfortable or become very quiet. Some people actually even tell me, please get this color off me because the vibration is too high. So this is also how we categorize, okay, this colors then belong to this group. And then once they are defined, we help them understand their own personality, understand their strength, and then use the colors as a tool to balance their energy, to communicate in difficult situations, to even grow, to take use certain colors in stages to grow and reach their target. So this is the process of the analysis.
That's like super fascinating. So, then this brings me to another question, Fatma. What happens when a corporate house or a business house reaches out to you? And I do understand a lot goes in when branding is being done. A lot goes when the logo is being created, and again, color plays a very big role as to which color is one going to use in their corporate, what we call corporate colors. We've heard these terms before. Uh, as a person, who's guiding a lot of corporate houses to create their logo or their brand colors, what is it that you, as a therapist, as a color consultant, as a color psychologist, keep in mind when you do it for an organization and not an individual?
Well, for a corporation, it definitely goes into so many different levels. So when we're looking, I would say as a simple, when you're creating a brand itself, okay? The first thing you are looking at is the brand identity. So here, I always say that yes, I do analyze an individual, okay, to work with themselves. But for example, a creative director of a certain brand is the identity of the brand. So we're looking at how they express their personality through their designs. So first of all, with corporations, number one, we sort of identify what is the color personality of the product or the brand. And then through that, we know not only the colors, but also the voice. We also know what's their mission statement. All of this comes through the color personality. Once we've identified the color personality, then we go into design. So here, of course, as I said, color association. So certain industries or a product have particular colors that express what this thing is. So for example, you cannot have, say, a holistic health company have the color red or something that's this, or black even, which is doesn't associate as a color with the idea of a holistic, healing sort of idea, So here it's very important to see what is the product and what are the colors associated with this industry. After we've established that, then we go into design, because even with the color groups, you have certain shapes and designs. So here's where the structure comes in. So once we've made the colors, the structure, the identity, then it's how do you sell this product to people? Here's where you're actually addressing all four personalities. So you have to find a way to represent all four personalities and make them understand why do they need this product, or why do they want to be a loyal customer to your personality. This is where you speak to them or teach them how to use this product with their personal, relating to their personal life. So the use of it. So if you're looking at somebody who is very, as we said, leaders, so they're very number and quality associated, you will mention that it's made of the highest quality. It is, if you're looking at another personality, which is key, like social CSR of the company is important, that's how you get their loyalty, then you will say that we produce this product which is environmentally friendly, or we're supporting a certain charity. So you see, you speak to each one in their sort of emotional language. So here's where we come into the marketing, but marketing could be just getting the attention or sending out a message, but you want something that is continuous. So this is where we go into training the team. And here's where the people learn their personality, their strength, and also learn about their customer's personality and how to sell to them. So all of this comes out of the color theory for corporations.
Wow. Then you are also an individual, which I know for a fact that you are NLP practitioner.
Yes.
Now, NLP, and then you're combining it with color psychology. And also because of the years of work that you've done with regression therapy,
yes,
and clinical hypnotherapy and spiritual hypnotherapy. How are you combining all of this, Fatma, in your journey? And I would love to know if there's any story or any aha moment, light bulb moment that you would have experienced or gone through, which enables you to take all these tools and techniques that you've got together, add your own life experience that enhances. And this is possibly what today is enabling you to start creating the legacy that you've started to create. Can you share?
Yes. That's what is very exciting about this topic, is that honestly, I have always been obsessed with the human mind. And I have read so many books and stories about how people have just healed themselves through reprogramming their mind. And that's what got my curiosity about NLP initially, decades ago. But what really got me into NLP actually was during my sessions with you, Indrani, because the regressions that we did, even the simple coaching of us discussing a topic and sort of, you know, pinning down what are the reasons. Is it something that's more emotional? Is it something that's more programming, you know, and so forth. So this got me really curious about how a person can really reprogram their mind. And through during our sessions, honestly, you got me really thinking, and I'm like, okay, with the color psychology, we're unconsciously controlling your mind. But through NLP, we are actually finding the unconscious problem and then taking NLP and reprogramming your mind to let go of that problem. So when I started actually certifying in NLP, which was during the pandemic, because finally I had free time. So I was like, this was my top priority of getting my NLP degree. And as I was studying, also there was a lot of similarities between sort of the color personalities and the NLP sort of profiling that you go through. And what I liked about both the science is that the NLP was complementary and it was another level we're taking an individual's mind to. So here's where I decided to combine that in my practices. And I do actually practice more of that in the corporate training, because a lot of also the corporate training requires that you should have an NLP coach certification. And it also helps actually with the teamwork and training individuals, because in a group also sometimes two or three individuals maybe more time to be dedicated or push them to another level, you know. And then also during the session, sometimes we discover fascinating things about people they didn't know about themselves, you know. So this is why I found that these two science are very complementary to each other. And my personal journey, because through the pandemic, I went through major changes with the company. And I really had to have quick thinking, because before the pandemic, all my work was with luxury brands, which were events, and I was physically there. And then suddenly they just stopped. So that's why I immediately actually I'm a firelight personality. This personality is all about saving the world. So the minute this happened, I just went into how can I help everyone. And this is where I incorporated both their practices for the online therapy and workshops that I continuously did during the pandemic, because all of us were in very fragile state. But at the same time, it also sort of gave me a sense of calmness to take the major steps I had to, or the transitions that I had to with my company. So when I did the transition, it didn't seem so like shocking and overwhelming. Actually, it helped me sort of balance and control my emotions.
So true. So true. Thank you. Thank you so much, Fatima. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome.